Welcome to the Upgrading Democracy podcast, which is about an actionable idea how we can make our political systems work better for us. This is episode number 2. In the last podcast episode, I promised you to deliver a sketch of a new breed of political party that I see as the best implementable next step to upgrade democracy. This new breed of party is grassroots democratic, yet efficient and effective. It is transparent. To enable its members to make up their individual political will, it will safeguard its information processes and internal democratic processes and facilitate well-educated decisions of its members. Quite a mouthful. But let us take one step after the other. I call this idea Proxy Party, like the technical term of a proxy server. This doesn't change the message that passes through it, but passes it on one-to-one. In other words, it perfectly represents the originator with his message. The basic idea of the proxy party is simple and can be described in 3 steps. First, the proxy party is a grassroots democratic political party. For efficiency reasons, it chooses to delegate the decision power to its representatives by default. But the members always have the option to decide themselves. This only requires a 5% takeover vote. These 5% of the member votes can be also achieved via delegated votes, as the proxy party uses a liquid democracy system. When the members decide to take the decision into their own hands, an official process of safeguarded information and democratic processes will be triggered. Fact research, fact-checking, topic preparation, deliberation, creation of an input paper, member voting. Third, after the decision was taken by the party members, this decision will be transferred one-to-one to Parliament. Instead of voting as a bloc, the representatives will vote according to the voting ratios of the members. So, if 80% of the members voted yes and 20% no, 8 of 10 representatives will vote yes and 2 will vote no. What do you mean? Why not taking all decisions with all members? Otherwise, it is no grassroots democracy. What's the fuss with this information in democratic processes? We just ask the members and let them decide. Why not simply following the majority and vote with one voice as the other parties do? After all, that's how it always has been done. Hold your horses, just bear with me. I have good reasons for all of these. Just let me explain, step by step. Remember, the aim of the game is to create a true champion in Parliament who speaks for the people instead of large enterprises and organizations with deep pockets. A champion who is transparent and trustworthy. A champion that cannot be bought by big money. And it should stay this way instead of warping into the stuff that normal political parties are made of. So, first topic. Why shouldn't a grassroots democratic party discuss everything with everyone? Let's face it, the direct democratic approach is not efficient, as discussing everything with every member is very time-consuming and nearly endless. Even if a consensus is reached with the existing members, new members will want to reopen topics and discuss them again and again and again. You get the picture. And then there's reality, which will confront the party with so many topics that tackling all of them with all the people is simply not possible. This would be even impossible for a person who is paid to do this full time. It is even less possible for someone having a normal full-time job and just some hours left to inform herself about these topics. If the party insists that all members take all decisions at the member base, the party will fail. Period. By trying this approach, the active members will be overloaded and will eventually burn out. Decisions will be taken too late or will be ill-prepared. Most likely, this approach will achieve all of these results. My suggestion would be to combine the best of both worlds. Let's have party officials who are able to act on the basis of a well-defined, concrete party program, but put the members in charge of them with a democracy by exception approach with a qualifying 5% hurdle. Why do I insist in a well-defined, concrete party program? A party program should achieve the goal to rally people around a set of values and goals. In the case of the Proxy Party, it should deliver an additional value. It should efficiently guide its officials and elected representatives in Parliament to act based on this program. I will come back to this in a later episode. If the party program is well-defined and concrete, the party officials will be well-equipped to reach the decisions that would have been reached if all of the members would have discussed the topic. If the party program is well-defined and concrete, the members will know quite clearly when the party officials don't walk the talk or go rogue. The members will be informed upfront how their representatives will vote. They always have the option to decide themselves. This only requires a 5% takeover vote, which means that only 5% of all members are required to officially transfer the decision about the votes in Parliament to the member base. These 5% can be also achieved via delegated votes, as the Proxy Party uses a liquid democracy system. Liquid democracy? What's that? Well, you might not be sure how to decide on a complex topic and rather trust another person than yourself to decide wisely, or simply have no time and delegate your vote to Patricia, whom you always admired as a very thoughtful person. Second topic, safeguarded information and democratic processes. Why do I insist in keeping the information processes and democratic processes and even safeguarding them? One simple reason: garbage in, garbage out. If the members decide, the party should ensure it did the best to inform them in a well-balanced way so that they are able to make up their individual political will and reach a well-educated decision. So why not just ask the members? After all, the wisdom of the crowd will be conjured and decide wisely about every topic. Well, not quite. Have you already fought in the trenches of Facebook's or Twitter's battlegrounds? Have you been part of the internal fight to persuade the other side? Ever heard about fake facts or even deepfakes? That's real life, and that's why a proxy party will not be successful if it doesn't master the discipline of sense-making as a group and circumvent its many vulnerabilities and dangers. Here's a short intro to a future, more detailed episode about the information processes of the proxy party. We have to take tribal behavior into account. You may have heard of the filter bubble, co-created by yourself and an algorithm which deepens your views and hides other ideas and worldviews from you. The algorithm of the social media platforms appeals to our human instincts. It will feed us a constant stream of increasingly more extreme and inflammatory content, just to keep us on the platform and sell more ads. The platforms strengthen the bond with your tribe by sharing narrative confirmation. The most snappily worded and convincingly argued receive the biggest rewards when they are shared, which then incentivizes others to share them too. We don't seem to even speak the same language anymore. It seems to get harder and harder to agree on anything. We need to make sure to use our reason. During evolution, humans developed a strategy in which most of the decisions of the day are made without much thinking. We just use proven shortcuts. This fast thinking is, however, very susceptible and is subject to many cognitive biases that can be used for manipulation. In political decision-making, the most important thing is not to let the voter decide from the gut. Instead, he must know the facts and must be motivated to deal with them. He should be motivated to think slow and will then have a good basis for his decision. We have to acknowledge that the media have a decisive influence on us. We live in a complex world. We develop images of people and things we have never encountered personally in life. These are largely taken from the media. By consuming the same media, these images are consolidated through repetition and form the basis of our decisions and actions. Think about it and realize, media doesn't solely describe reality, but also partly creates it. And then there could be some members that want to influence the information processes and steer the decision process in their direction. They might try to influence the selection of facts, the selection of specialists to give input, the preparation of the topic, the deliberation, the creation of the decision paper. So it is important to define and adhere to processes that largely prevent this influence, even when this influence should come from a high-ranking official or group within the proxy party. The second part, the keeping the democratic processes within the proxy party, should be self-explanatory. After all, you also listen to this podcast because you are not really convinced that the incumbent political parties are internally very democratic and truly listen to your ideas. Third topic, a one-to-one transfer instead of a majority decision and voting as a bloc. In my opinion, a party voting as a bloc misses the point of democracy itself. Democracy has to represent the people and not their political parties. Artificially aggregating the will of its members at the intermediate step of a party to a 100% yes-no vote results in a loss of information and a distortion of the political will of the people and makes the party more vulnerable to corruption. The proxy party should aim to represent the will of its members as good as it can. If 80% of its members vote yes and 20% with no, 8 of 10 representatives should vote for yes in parliament and 2 with no. Let's face it, members of political parties are not only individual members, but also, individuals. They have individual minds. They will not agree on all political issues. Heck, even the members of some very focused one-topic parties don't agree on the way their only topic should be implemented. You seriously want to tell me that you have no doubt at all that all decisions taken by your party are just great? Seriously? Sorry, sounds to me like you have already given up thinking for yourself, or don't dare to contradict your friends with your true thoughts, as this might make them reconsider you being a member of the group. Well, it might be time to leave your group and join one that is focused to find solutions instead of falling for the cheap tactics of demonization and divide and conquer. The other person has a different background than yourself. They might have a different value system. So even if you agree on the same facts, this other person might decide differently. Instead of focusing on differences, we should first focus on topics we agree on, like weakening the influence of big money on politics. If we unite, we will be able to achieve a real difference. If we truly listen to each other, try to understand each other, then we'll recognize that mostly it is not even about different values, but just our perception of how far we have come achieving these, and the priorities of these values and how they should be achieved. If we make this effort, we will soon find out that we are far closer to each other than it looks like. Let me shortly repeat the 3 pillars of the idea of the proxy party. First, the proxy party is a grassroots democratic political party. For efficiency reasons, it chooses to delegate the decision power to its representatives by default, but the members always have the option to take on the vote themselves with a 5% takeover vote. Second, when the members decide to take the decision into their own hands, An official process of safeguarded information and democratic processes will be triggered. Fact research, fact-checking, topic preparation, deliberation, creation of an input paper, member voting. And third, after the decision was taken by the party members, this decision will be transferred one-to-one to Parliament. No voting as a block, just a one-to-one representation of the voting ratios of the members. Sounds interesting to you? The next episode will be the start to a series with more in-depth explanations of the ingredients for a successful proxy party. In the coming episode, I will take a closer look at a potential party program. Actually, I should say party programs, as I want to convince you that this should be split into 2 programs, but this has to wait until the next episode. If you don't want to wait to hear the solution in this podcast, you can visit me on my website upgradingdemocracy.com. Otherwise, stay with me, hit subscribe wherever you listen to this podcast.